part A is going from DNA to RNA. And I would like you to put mRNA there. My colleague made this up, and I would have put an M there, but so it's more specific, okay? So transcription is basically going from DNA again to mRNA. Okay? So how does that happen? Well, just FYI, just to go back and refresh, basically your nitrogen base in the DNA strand is what really determines this whole thing, right? Again, the sequence of the A's, the T's, and G's, and C's, that's the starting point, and that is the part that's important, okay? Just to let you know, there are 20 types of amino acids, and because that's going to be the final product, amino acids, okay? And if you look on your handout that I gave you, and this is a chart, and your book has one of these too. This is the universal code. And what that means is every organism on the planet, as far as we know at this point, with a couple exceptions, again, organisms, viruses really aren't considered a living organism, but they kind of have a little wacky rule. There's a couple other new findings in some bacteria, but for the most part, most everything on the planet has this code, so based on their genetic makeup, okay? And some of these may be familiar to you. I don't know how much you're into your health, but if you go into a health food store, there's a whole amino acids starting on the right, all A to Z. And here they are: serine, tyrosine, histidine, proline, threonine, that doesn't really show, alanine, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. These are the types of amino acids out there. And we'll come back to this a little bit later when we get to translation. You can actually, knowing the code, determine what the amino acid is. We know this for every living thing on our planet. That's pretty powerful stuff. It really is. Because we can tell, and many diseases are associated with a single point mutation that starves a protein of a specific amino acid. And by knowing that, you can supplement by taking the amino acid and offset that deficiency. And that's kind of neat stuff. So anyway, these are some of the amino acids, and you'll see this and become familiar with the chart as we go. All right. So what is transcription? DNA to mRNA. mRNA is just a coded message. And what's really amazing is the coded message is read, and we'll see this later on, by tRNA in 3-letter words. Those 3-letter words are called codons. You want to write this down. So, what is a codon? That'd be a good header. A codon is 3 letters on the mRNA that's specified for a specific amino acid. And if you want to use the word nitrogen base is fine. You don't have to use that word. You can use just say base. For a specific amino acid. So it's 3-letter code on the mRNA, codes for amino acid.
Like ATG or something?
Yep. But no T though, remember, there's no T in RNA, but hey. AUG, there you go. And we're going to do a little exercise and do that in a second, and you'll practice this at this point so you'll make sure you understand it. That's what the handout's for. Okay, so codon again. Anybody have a question on that? All right.
Wait, how do you kind of tie in the codon to the amino acid? Like, what's the...
That's what this chart here is going to be for. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. That's kind of translation. That's kind of the second part. Okay? All right, so basically, if you look, there are 64 different codes. You don't have to write this down. I'm not going to hold you responsible. This is FYI kind of a point. 64 different codons. There's 61 codons to signal amino acids. And there's a thing called the start codon. This I'd like you to add, okay? AUG is kind of a unique sequence in the mRNA. So whenever you see AUG, that is the start of a gene. Okay, it's the start of basically a message that's going to say, okay, I'm coding for a new polypeptide here. Okay, so AUG is a start codon. Please write that down.
And what is it called for?
It codes for the amino acid methionine, basically. But what I want you to know is it's a start codon. So if you see AUG, that's start.
It's start of what?
Of the process of translation, or of the beginning of the protein chain. Okay? And correspondingly, you got to have a place to start and you got to have a place to stop. So there are actually 3 different stop programs. I'm not going to have you memorize that. All I want you to know is there are also stop codons. Okay? So there are start codons and there are stop codons that say, here's the beginning, here's the end. And you'll see how that pans out here probably tomorrow. Okay? Again, because I want to take bits and pieces to make sure we get the process. Okay, just FYI, so we don't lose the forest of the trees. Nitrogen bases determines the order of amino acids. The genetic code's the same. I already went over all this stuff. This is recap. So let me stop right here. I'm going to show you a little PowerPoint to kind of put this first step together, okay?
The cell transcribes the genetic designs for each protein from strands of DNA to special molecules of RNA. An enzyme unwinds a segment of DNA, making room for its complementary RNA nucleotides. Both DNA and RNA nucleotides contain a sugar, phosphate, and base. But in RNA, the sugar is ribose, and one of the 4 bases is replaced by a uracil.
Okay. Makes sense? So we talked about the difference between DNA and RNA before. One of them was the sugar, ribose versus deoxyribose. The other one is the base, right? And the fact you only have 1 strand versus 2 strands. So
The exposed bases of the DNA strand serve as a model for the construction of messenger, or mRNA.
Okay, so if you want to start a little, you can make a little chart or on your notes. We'll start putting the 3 types of RNA and explain what they are. And they're pretty darn easy, actually. Whoever did this probably did it right. mRNA is messenger RNA. It sends the message from the DNA to the ribosome. So again, mRNA, I'm going to recap this again in a bit, but these we're talking about now. mRNA is the message, goes from DNA to the ribosome.
Wait, is the message or it sends it?
Excuse me?
Is it like it is the message or does it send it?
It is a message. It's a coded message in the form of codons, and we'll get to that in just a second.
Strands, the cell produces transfer, or tRNA, and ribosomal, or rRNA.
Okay, so the other 2 I'll go over
In
that.
their final form, these molecules play a...
All right, so the other 2, we'll get this now, is a tRNA. It's going to tRNA, and it's called, T is for transfer RNA. And the cool part about it is it actually looks like a TU. And we'll get to that in a second. Just write tRNA and leave a space. And the third one is rRNA, and the R is ribosomal. And you should know that makes up ribosomes. And remember we talked way back when what ribosomes do? What do ribosomes do? The protein factory. Here it is. So now we're coming full circle, showing how that happens. Okay? Tying it all together. And we will come back to revisit, and you will be very familiar with these by the end of tomorrow. Okay?
vital role in protein synthesis.
All right, so there's the mRNA strand moving out.
Translation begins with the binding of a messenger RNA to a small...
I'm not going to go into that now. I'm going to go to the next video. How much time we got here? Let's see.
7 minutes.
All right, we're going to hold up that. Oops. Wrong one. All right. Let's get your handout out. Sorry about that.